Hello and welcome to Liz Bolter Wisdom. And this video, I would like to talk a little bit about paranormal stuff. Again, this is a massive subject, isn't it? Paranormal stuff that's not maybe that we can't really explain sometimes, or we try to find things that are not within our normal experiences. So I have had a lot of what could be called paranormal experiences over the years, and that is going back from when I was a very young child. I find that as the years have gone by, I've become a lot more discerning about my interpretations of these things, which for me I feel is a good thing. I think I used to see anything that was potentially unsettling as something else. There was something going on that was kind of I wasn't able to explain. As the years have gone by, I mean, I've always been quite a sort of had my kind of sciencey hat on. That's sort of the way my brain works, the way my personality is that I like to kind of question things. And so for me, that's important, is to question what's going on, and not necessarily to accept that everything that happens is potentially out of our human experience. So, for instance, a few years ago, I was in the kitchen, and a glass. I had some glass pots with various different food items in, and one of them just suddenly exploded. And I'll be honest, I didn't immediately think, oh my goodness, wow, there's some sort of entity in here, there's something going on. Like I do quite a lot, like a lot of us do, I went onto Google and I put in spontaneous glass combustion, and indeed, it's something that happens. That obviously glass can change in terms of heat in the kitchen and or anywhere, and so I think when I was younger, I probably would have potentially put that into a different context. So for me, it's really important to question what's happening. So if you're in a room and you're on your own, and you suddenly hear a noise, is it that, are you going to interpret that noise as something paranormal, potentially because of how you're feeling? Or are you able to be discerning about it and say, hang on, actually, there was a book on the side. I didn't put it on the side properly. So obviously it just kind of moved, and it kind of fell and maybe hit something. But then maybe not. Maybe something pushed it. Maybe an energy pushed it. So, but for me, it's really important to be discerning. So I just want to kind of like start my talk by saying that. That for me it's important to question, but not necessarily to over question. When we over question, potentially we wrap ourselves up into knots. So for me, there is a fine line, and sometimes you just have to let it go, and you just have to say, I don't know why that happened. I don't know what that was. I don't know what that experience was. It was something that was strange. I can't work it out. I can't explain it. It's the unexplained. And I think a lot of the experiences I've had in my life are unexplainable. When I really enjoy, I suppose, the experiences that I have, is when there are other people also witnessing the experience. So hearing a voice, for instance, if there's someone else in the room and they also hear that voice at the same time and there's nobody else around, then I find that really interesting, that there's a shared experience of an unexplained, a paranormal experience. Although there have been experiments done to show that when people are together again, we can kind of back each other up on what happened. And maybe that person didn't think they heard a voice, but then when you said there was a voice, that maybe that kind of swayed them into to thinking that. So there's always, again, those kind of like explorative questions to ask. In terms of things moving, in terms of things, me actually witnessing and seeing things, that is something that I've experienced a lot, seeing things. Again, when it's witnessed by somebody else, then there's I can kind of like add more weight to it, maybe. I don't know. I'm not saying I don't trust my own ability to witness these things, but for me, in terms of my investigative voice, my investigative voice and hat that I have on, being the science me, I like to know that it's kind of like there is some sort of backup. And this has actually happened with my pets, which is an interesting one, because obviously with animals, they're not necessarily picking up on this kind of collective need to kind of mirror and agree with the other person, which has been shown in this research. So I used to have a cat, beautiful cat called Velvet, and she was very special to me, and sadly passed away a few years ago. But when we were in the house, I was seeing a lot of what people would call orbs. So light that is formed into a level of density, so it has a physical presence, and has some form of acceleration in terms of that it's moving around the room. And I used to, so I'd see these orbs, and I'd look, and both myself and Velvet would follow these orbs across the room. And then there might be another one that would go that way, and then she'd look that way, and then I'd look over there, and then we'd both follow it back. And this happened recently with my dog as well. With my dog, I have a cockapoo called Kimmy, and she also did this. There was an orb moving across the room, and again, she was sitting next to me, and we both followed the path. Now, you could say that my animals were following my eye line, but I don't think that's a usual thing for animals to do. That wouldn't sit right as an explanation. When I do experience orbs, I will usually ask who they are, what they are. Sometimes they are energy forms of people that have passed over, and so I may get a name, I may get a sense about them, and sometimes I don't at all. Sometimes I don't get an explanation as to what they are. And so hearing things, feeling things. Now, obviously, feeling something is it's a very subjective experience. So I walk into a room and I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling something here. Those feelings are incredibly strong in me. When I enter a space, when I enter a physical space, or when I enter an energetic space, potentially with somebody, so remotely, and those feelings are really strong. So there's that part of me that's just like, I don't need kind of backup on that. I don't need someone to kind of tell me whether I'm feeling that or not, because I am feeling it. But again, I always try to put that into context. If someone says to me, right, this place is haunted, I want you to go in there, and see what you feel. Well, we're setting up our minds to experience something potentially. And so it's always for me being aware of the context, whether I'm expecting something, whether I've been thinking about something. But it's also what for me is the strongest thing is the feeling. It's the feeling that I get. It's the energetic resonance that I am picking up. That to me is the most important thing in these paranormal experiences. Hearing voices internally is something that has happened to me for many years. As a lot of you know, that I'm psychic, I'm a channel, so this is something that is part of my life and has been since I was incredibly young. Hearing something from outside, so actually hearing it kind of with my ear. That does happen. There can be knocking, there can be sounds, there can be voices. And I can't necessarily pinpoint what they are. Sometimes I'm able to get an explanation, but not always. So for me, with any experiences that I have, whether I'm witnessing something visually, orally, in terms of a somatic experience, in terms of how I feel, in terms of or an emotional feeling, I always like to put a little question mark next to it. But as I say, not to over question. So to also allow that experience to have happened. That's what I've experienced. That's what I've perceived. I might not be able to understand it fully, but I've kind of ruled out certain things. So for me, paranormal, what people would call paranormal experiences, are very much a part of my day-to-day life. I kind of almost, it would be hard now, I think, for me to kind of not experience those things. But maybe that will happen to me, because especially my responses in terms of energetic fields are so strong. So picking up what people might call ghosts, or kind of energetic patterns, resonances that have been left behind, residue that's been left behind, thought patterns that have been left behind, conversations that have been left behind. I've walked into buildings and I've heard conversations really strongly, really loudly, and so also kind of for me, it's when I'm experiencing something, or when I'm kind of post-experience and I'm potentially going into an exploration of it, is to just to find out why that might have happened at that particular time. What is it offering me? What is it offering maybe somebody that I'm working with? If something is trying to get my attention, if somebody is trying to get my attention, and energy is trying to get my attention, or potentially a part of myself that has moved to an external, or an extended, let's say, rather than external, extended energy field that I'm in, and maybe it's myself. Maybe there's a part of myself that's trying to get my attention about something. Well, why? Do I need to stop here? Do I need to pause? Do I need to kind of change direction, whether physically or emotionally, mentally? So massive subject, obviously. Anything unexplained, anything potentially paranormal. There's a lot more investigators out there. I would absolutely love to do some investigating, something that I would love to explore further. People do send me their videos of maybe paranormal experiences that they've had within their homes, and I can tune into those. Doesn't matter that they've already happened. I can tune into those, and I can offer potentially an explanation. I can offer my reading of the situation. So that's something that I do as part of my work. And or someone explaining to me something they've experienced, and I'm able to step into that and offer them offer them some explanation again. So if you're experiencing paranormal stuff, get in touch. It's something that I find interesting, fascinating, but also something that's just part of my life. So just because something can't be explained doesn't mean to say that it's not happening or that it's not part of my reality. And so there's an honouring in that. And I hope that that's happening more and more, that people that do experience these things are not that they're honoured now, and it's that they're what I don't enjoy is when there's a kind of automatic, oh, that's a load of rubbish. To me, there's no point in that. We're here to kind of support each other's experiences, each other's perceptions, whatever they are. They might not make sense. They don't have to make sense. We always want things to make logical sense. So I kind of try to have different hats on with all these experiences, and but also allow myself that honouring of my own perception and my own experience. And I have so many experiences that I would love to share, and so potentially I'll do another video and share some of my actual experiences that fit into the paranormal category. Thank you very much for watching, for listening, and do get in touch at returntowisdom@hotmail.com. And if you can like, subscribe, a comment would be lovely. Just wanting to really break free these subjects in whatever way needs to happen. And we all have our different kind of designs on that, and kind of, again, perceptions of how this could all be broken down and just basically allowed. I will do another video as well about, I know some people are interested in, and people do contact me about potential, what, might be dubbed as dark energies or negative energies. So that's something I will do a separate video on, because I think that's quite an important subject. And it can rise up a lot of fear in people, and people need support when they are feeling that fear. So thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.